Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I am Manny Carl, and welcome to the Division Let's Talk Gear Set Redesign Challenge. It is indeed a challenge because we'll see if we can get in one gear set every day this week, and probably more next week since there are quite a few gear sets. Now, today's gear set, we are going to talk about Path of the Nomad. This gear set has been the joke of the community since its inception because of the two-piece bonus of 100% scavenging, and seriously, I have knee pads that have more scavenging on it, and to even make it worse, the PvE only applying to the 4-piece auto revive is a joke. It should apply to all things PvE, and which is why it doesn't make any sense for the reclaimer to apply to PvP, but this does not apply to PvP. It boggles my mind. But before we fully get into my plans for Path of the Nomad, I want to quickly touch base on some vendor redesign. I know vendor redesign is probably the worst thing ever, but if you think about it, it's part of the reason why most people complain. There's no reason to buy anything from the vendor because at level 30, everything you can buy is either lower gear or you just get better stuff from events. What do we need the vendors for? And what we need are vendors who can help us accomplish tasks and get better gear through purchasing. Now, I don't know what that entails, but whether or not they give us equipment, whether they give us pieces to a gun, whether there's an epic quest or something like that that we need to fulfill, but we need the vendors. We need them to show up and we need them to go ahead and do it. Whether or not, it's something, but I'm going to go ahead and just lay some redesign really quick for you. Now, we need to fully understand that the vendors in the DZ should sell some exotic items. Things on the black market, like a black market AK-47, something like that. So my first change would be that the DZ vendors only sell black market items, things you can't get anywhere else in the game, items you can't get from other vendors. Now, if it were up to me, when you sold an item to a vendor, if it met a certain criteria, the item would go on a timer so you could buy it back, and then it would be available for sale from the vendor after that timer expired, meaning you don't want it anymore, and there would be vendors that would sell player goods. This, of course, would be for any weapons, gear mods, weapon mods, and clothing. These items would be marked with a 3-hour timer or something like that to give the seller ample chance to get that item back, and after that time, the item would go for sale on the vendor to the first person that came across the item. This would not apply to gear sets though, because that would really kill the economy. The vendor, there would be no reason to do anything because the vendor would be full of gear sets. The vendor would have to automatically, set a price for these items. It wouldn't be player set. It would be whatever Massive decided. And after that time, it'd be available for sale in a random instance to avoid exploiting this somehow. Now, this idea, it will never happen, but ideally it would be cool. Now, vendors should be placed outside the world in the area of the city instead of just in the Darkzone to get the most lucrative blueprints. Ideally, items sold in the Darkzone would be any weapon that would be considered black market or, something like that, or even like black market gear sets or something like that that had certain roles or certain attributes on them that made them black market. Maybe, something doesn't work or something like that, or it has less of something, but it's like a 268 backpack of the Nomad that has, one less perk on it or something like that you could get, that you could go in there and buy and do that kind of stuff. That would be something that would be cool, where you have like a black market piece of equipment and it just, a black market 229 sniper rifle has 2 perks, or it has a little bit less damage, or it has a less magazine, something to make it, point out, make it unique or something like that. The point of the whole vendor everywhere thing is to make it less like you need to go into the Darkzone and more of people searching vendors out for good items. We can hide them. It'd be like a big hide and seek thing. Have them hidden throughout the city, making it so that people need to actually hunt these down for people selling items on the black market. Make it dangerous too. You're getting close to an vendor when there's people guarding it outside, and you put some enemies in that area that will actually offer up a challenge. Either way, I think vendors shouldn't be static, and they need to have some life breathed into them, into the way they operate. They shouldn't just be demeaning, demoralizing characters that walk in and call you stupid like they're your dad or something. Okay, now on to Path of the Nomad. When I think of Nomad, I think of traveling and moving across the vast deserts of the oceans and whatever it is that you think of when you think of Nomad. You think of the Middle East and deserts and people wrapping their heads to keep out of the sand, something like that. I know this set was made for solo players, so the perks should be set and geared towards solo play. That is why I redesigned it from the ground up to be more of a solo beneficial gear set. Now, really quickly, on my last video, someone asked me why I would suggest removing the one thing in this game that people actually enjoy, was the mix and matching of items to make up your own unique gear set. Well, it's to make the bonuses special and remove a lot of the bugs and exploits people are seeing, making things more consistent. So my proposal, and it's why you see 3-piece, 4-piece, and 6-piece in my description of the pieces needed to complete the set, is you shouldn't need to mix and match to have an awesome set. But this method also lets you still build sets, just not as easily. You can put 2 3-piece sets together, but I feel if you're going to get the super bonus, that is a huge advantage for the player. It should come at a cost of having to wear the 6 pieces of the gear and getting the 6 pieces of the gear and making sure that people go and do the events and stuff like that to get those pieces of the gear. So let's go ahead and jump in with the 3-piece Nomad. Right now, we all agree that this is why the set is the laughing stock of the game. It's a level 30 gear set with a bonus to the game when you're level 1 through 29. So let's remove scavenging completely. There's no reason until my next video where I'm going to cover scavenging for keeping this in the Nomad set. Now, keeping with the Nomad theme of moving around and kind of traveling, the 3-piece Nomad will give the player a 20% increase to sprint speed for 10 seconds with a recharge time similar to the Reclaimer consumable cooldown. The reason for this is that the gear set is supposed to be, Darkzone centric, and this means 20% increased speed to sprint means getting away from danger quickly, or maybe chasing down a rogue from behind so they get away, they can't get away as easily. And all of these perks, there is one hard bonus, and because this set is made for solo players, these perks only activate when you are by yourself and not in a group. So this gear set not available for people in the groups. You can wear it, but you're not going to get the bonus of it for when you're in a group. This is for going into the Darkzone or into another mission by yourself, because all of this stuff is geared for making you more powerful and making you better equipped to handle solo stuff by yourself. And part of this is so you can go and you can do challenge and heroic missions by yourself. Using this gear set somehow we'll figure out a way for you to be able to do challenge and heroic missions by yourself. It'll take you a while to get through, but some of this, there has to be a way to do it, and I think that this gear set is the way to do it. The 4-piece set of the Path of the Nomad gear set would be a 25% increase to weapon damage when not in a group, of course. The fact is, the set is made for solo players, and 20% health on kill isn't helping anyone, because if you're in the DZ, if you're solo, you probably aren't killing anything anyways. So how is this perk helping? Finally, and how are you going into a 4-piece kill slot in a solo mission, like going in a heroic and getting shot? How is killing something with 20% going to benefit you? Finally, we come to the 6th and final bonus for the set piece. Now, the original 4 set piece bonus wasn't that bad, except it doesn't work in PvP. And in PvE, full health can mean that you just go down twice to a shotgunner, and because it didn't work in PvP. So you could go down twice to a shotgunner. This set needs to pack a punch with its 6-piece bonus, and that comes from what I call the Fog of War bonus. And I know that there's a Fog of War in the Underground, and this has nothing to do with it. This bonus gives the user the ability to deploy a deadly gas grenade that slows down anyone who tries to enter or tries to go after the enemy, and it also does 1% damage over time. It's not going to be, it's going to be harmless, but it's still damaging you and giving you that damaged feeling, and if you're almost dead, it could potentially kill you, because the goal of this gear set is allowing the agent to escape quickly, easily, and unharmed when they're in danger. Needless to say, this will only work on enemies that are both NPCs and rogues. If you are a rogue when wearing this, only other rogues will be affected by it. It will not help you when you are a rogue. Agents that are not rogue are immune to the effects. I don't know how I would just explain this, but that's just the way it is. If you are a rogue, all other rogues, enemies, and everything else, they can get harmed by it, but regular agents, they will pass through it because of some sort of shield or shade magic or something, or shade tech magic or something like that. Now, I'm not saying that the original 4-piece set was bad, but it just wasn't really working with the whole current status of the game. And I think if you're going to run by yourself, you need something that will easily protect you. And the one thing this game is missing are snares that slow people down and kind of trap people and stuff like that. Now, I know you must be thinking the smoke cloud is huge and spreading far and wide so they can get away, but I'm sure that we can make it like a gas grenade size range, which would allow you to escape the player, but not unless he's actually getting out of there in a hurry. Now, so if you're wearing this set and you drop this gas grenade, you're running the hell out of there and getting away as fast as you can while everybody else is, just kind of sitting there. This is to prevent you from dying. So you can run away and not be afraid. So that's just this is the way that this works. So that's really been my time. I want to thank all of my listeners and even those who are just here to see what's going on in the Division and seeing if it's really worth coming back to. Hopefully you found this video interesting, if not entertaining, and hopefully some of you will carry over and the Nomad gear set will actually become viable to it again, and because all the sets need to be a viable solution for anything in the game. And I think that that's the way it should be. So subscribe for our latest video, which will be tomorrow, and we are going to cover how to fix scavenging as well as cover the Hunter's Faith gear set and redesign that. So until then, for all of us here at the Division Let's Talk, I am Mountie Carl, and we'll see you in the Dark Zone. Agent out.